Tom from VermiBag. I did do an update last week on the 2 VermiBag Totes that I'm running, in addition to the one that I'm harvesting. This is the one that's in the 10-gallon Rubbermaid tub, and then I have the other one that I have in a stand right now. Those are the 2 I've been doing videos on and watching. And like I said, I didn't get a video out last week, so I'm going to go ahead and put a video right now. I did feed them a lot more last week, and we'll take a peek at them and see how the worms are doing in here now. Now again, I have this burlap in here, a gunny sack on top of this thing, and you definitely don't have to do that, but I have one. Right off the bat, you know, amazingly, looking at the surface, there's actually a fair amount of condensation around the edge of the lid. Even with this huge ventilation panel, because all that food I'm putting in there, it's actually condensating a lot and trying to evaporate. So if I didn't have this ventilation panel, you know, I'm sure the top of this lid would be really, really wet. Probably dripping back into the bag for sure. I see a lot of worms on the surface, so let's dig down in a little bit and just see what it looks like underneath. Moisture content is really, really nice. A lot of worms there. They're getting a lot bigger too. We put them in here, they're pretty small worms. They're definitely starting to put on a lot of bulk. I mean, the worms look really good. I don't see a lot of excess food in here too. I do see some scraps here and there, but nothing major for sure. So they could probably use another feeding, but again, I'm going to have to wait until the stuff I put in the freezer this morning is frozen, so it'll be tomorrow. And I mean, they're fine. Here's a couple pieces of a pepper or something that was pepper and some lettuce, it looks like. So they're not going to starve, so you're just not going to see the feeding on the video, but that's fine. Yeah, anywhere there's chunks of food, there's a lot of worms hanging out still. So overall, I want to say this bag is doing really, really good. Definitely no moisture issues. The bottom of the bag actually doesn't feel that wet either. And if you try this on a Rubbermaid tote and just keep throwing all this high moisture content scraps, and if you go to the bottom of your bag, I'm right at the bottom here, and you scoop it out, you're not going to get material like this that crumbles apart. So that's the big advantage of having all this aeration in here. The system gets a tremendous amount of airflow, and the worms just seem to really do well on it. Let's go ahead and grab the other one that's in the wood stand and take a peek at that and see how it's doing. Here's the tote that's in the wood stand. Let's open it up and see what it looks like. Same thing, I got the little burlap on top. The material looks pretty well. You can tell they've been working over the whole top of the system. There's still a little of this worm chow, the homemade worm chow that I make with the bird seed on the top. But that was just put in yesterday, so we'll go over this left section, see what it looks like. Some big African night crawlers in there for sure. But just a good mixture of worms now. All kinds of sizes. I do see quite a few cocoons mixed in here. So they're definitely liking their environment right now, and they're really starting to explode in population. The leftovers of that melon that I put in there, some seeds and some skin. Oh, take a look at the center section here. Now, I haven't fed the center section. I fed on both sides. And I can definitely notice a difference. I don't see that many worms. I mean, there's still a lot of worms, but there's no concentration of worms at all here in the center. And I have to admit, the center section is a little bit I mean, it's not dry, but it's drier than the side sections. And that's because, the system gets its moisture from that food. So, you need to spread your feedings out amongst the bag because the system needs moisture to, maintain the proper moisture content for the worms. It's not sealed up tight, so it can't recycle all that moisture, it evaporates. So, you can't take a system like this and not feed it. The feedings and the wet feedings are what keep this system going. And don't be afraid of adding too much moisture in these too. It's like any vermi-bag. More moisture is better than less moisture. It's exact opposite of a Rubbermaid tub or any other closed system, even the urban worm bag. You want to add a lot of moisture to your vermi-bags, and they can handle the moisture. It's able to escape between the evaporation and stuff. They can handle it. So, and that's where a lot of people get a little confused because they try and treat this like a closed system, and it's not, and it won't function like that. You need to keep feeding this and adding moisture to the system to compensate for all the stuff that evaporates. But, the system looks really good. I mean, these worms are doing fabulous. I mean, there's some big Africans in here, there's Euros in here. So, like I said, I'll probably give it a little bit more food, but it's going to be tomorrow because, again, I'm freezing this stuff right now. So, but, there's a fair amount in here, and they're not going to starve by any means. But, so overall, I think both systems are doing really well. I don't really notice much of a difference between the one that's in the Rubbermaid tub and the one that's in the wood stand. So go ahead and put our burlap back on here and close it up. And I'll probably come back tomorrow, give it a little food, may possibly give it a tiny little shot of water in the center, spray it just a tiny little bit in that center section. I'll probably feed in the center section, add moisture into it. So that's all for today, folks. This is Tom from VermiBag. I'll try and do an update on these next week. So until then, ciao.